Well, I got several. My first is this.
Okay. Okay.
I mean,
I just said
I'm not
it. I
even
tried to get out in front
claiming
of
to
it.
be some savant, some basketball savant. But after 2+ decades of covering the league,
Okay.
I could see they're too young.
Oh, well.
And they're facing 4-time champions.
Yeah.
They were going down from the get-go, especially when Jimmy Buckets was not out for the
Seems like
season.
that was correct.
But my biggest
Yes,
takeaway
please.
outside of that, off of me, is Jimmy Butler, this is serious, is special. Like, this dude is special. Steph is special because of his shooting ability. Draymond is special because of his defense and playmaking. Jimmy Butler is special because of his will. Like yesterday, he willed himself through the game. He was playing in pain, I think, throughout that whole game. And there were a few times you could see it looked like the injury got re-aggravated. And he fought through it. And then he willed them to victory. 14 points in the fourth quarter after scoring 13 throughout the first 3 quarters. All right? And then that rebound. I mean, it's the rebound that is heard around the world. Like,
That's a little strong.
okay, a little strong.
Good rebound.
But over 7-foot Steven Adams.
Yeah, who could have tipped it in.
6'10" Jabari Smith. Yeah, Adams was in perfect position. And Dylan Brooks lagging. Like, Jimmy Butler goes up and gets that rebound. It was like he was saying, I didn't play through all this pain just to lose.
Yeah.
And when the clutch time came and the fourth quarter came, he willed that team. With Steph not having his great game. He was fine, obviously, but he wasn't. It wasn't a Steph game, and Butler got it done. And so, because of his will, I really believe this. When looking at the Miami Heat teams he took to the finals, which weren't good. No. One year Tyler Hero was out. And Bam, you know, he had Bam and then a bunch of role players that some of them can't even get off the bench for their new teams. Gabe Vincent, Caleb Martin. They have a real chance to get to the finals. A real chance to get to the finals and even win it, I think. So Jimmy Butler is special is my number one takeaway.
So that's not my number one takeaway, but can I just add something to Jimmy Butler? 62% for the regular season from the free throw line. 12 of 12 last night.
That's nuts.
I mean, that is nuts. That is the...
I didn't realize he shot that poorly.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I knew that it felt like he was, because in the play-in...
Was he better with the Warriors, though?
No, I think for the season, it was 62%. It's what it's what they flashed on the graphic, but they're calling Şengün. So Josh, fact check it. Make sure that's correct. But I just remember in the Clippers game 82, he missed some big free throws. In the play-in game, he seemed shaky from the line. His 12-12 last night, and the 2 at the end to push it from 1 to 3, all of it. My biggest takeaway, sadly, I think is the same as Wild's is, which is about Draymond Green. And so do you want to go about Draymond Green before I go? Because
my take is that Draymond is underrated.
So overrated, underrated, I think it depends on who's rating him and how they're rating him.
Well, all right, so I'll give you my take, and I'll say,
what is your bootleg take about that?
When Draymond was out of the game and they were just feeding Şengün was unstoppable. Like, I know it's like unstoppable.
No,
like,
he was unstoppable.
I really mean it literally. He was unstoppable. So here he was last night. He took a ton of shots. It was like, keep feeding him. They can't stop him. Yeah. When Draymond got back in the game,
he got scared.
That's right. Not only did he stop, going to the basket, the final shot was a fadeaway. He's been spinning layup. And he got a little bit nervous, and I do think for all of our, let's say, give me a breaks on Draymond's behavior that is questionable, and it happened in the finals against Jaylen Brown, the same thing. That stuff works. It seems to work in getting people's heads and changes people's games.
And it's the only way he can be great. And so I thought Ime made one big mistake that was an obvious one in the game, which is the moment Draymond got his 5th foul, he should have put Şengün back in. Like, because it was so clear Şengün was not doing Şengün stuff with Draymond in, but when he did eventually put him back in, but I was sitting there watching, like, put Şengün in, forget your regular rotation. You want every minute possible for Şengün when Draymond's out, because Draymond seems to be the perfect guy to guard him. Everyone else on the Warriors seems to be drawing dead against him, and it was their advantage. I think this game, I said it this morning, I'll say it again, put this game on Draymond's basketball tombstone. Another triple single, doesn't matter. Makes 2 shots to start the game, doesn't have to score another point, doesn't matter. He was, with respect to Jimmy, in my opinion, the most impactful player in that game, because he had 9 fouls, called him for 5, 3 technicals, called him for 1. Yep. But that's part of flagrant. That could have been something more. It's fine. He gets in a froth.
Oh, my God.
It rattles the other team. He then gets even better. He's doing all types of stuff after the whistle that is not dirty but is annoying. Even him going up to Tari Eason at the free throw, when Tari wasn't shooting free throws on the box outline, seemingly apologizing for what went on, and then Amen Thompson comes over like, yo, don't talk to him. And then Draymond's like, almost like causing a mini rift between Tari and Amen. That's all calculated.
Yeah.
And
also invaded the huddle.
Right, it did all of these things that lead to winning. And so I have been there are certain things Draymond does that I don't like, but I get. There are certain things Draymond does, most notably his, I think, really cruel attacks on certain players, particularly Karl-Anthony Towns, that I think are like a personality defect of his that I think deserve to be criticized. But during the game, he has been, if you remove the Durant era, which is almost its own thing, the pre-Durant and post-Durant, he's always been the second most important Warrior and the guy that unlocks everything. And I just think, I thought that was such a brilliant Draymond performance, and I've been one of his biggest critics, and I will continue to be on things that deserve to be criticized. That was an all-time game by him.
This is just so crazy, because he talks about how cruel, Draymond Green is and stuff like that, when Nick is literally dropping banners making fun of Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen, and out there having doll hands of Jared Goff because he's got small hands or whatever. Like, you want to talk about, like, oh man, oh God. And then even this whole thing where he's like acting like he's complimenting Draymond Green when it's just nothing but backhanded compliment. First off, Draymond Green shouldn't have had any technicals that game. That's a bunch of nonsense. That flagrant foul when they just kind of like landed and combined each other, that's a flagrant foul. I mean, get out of here. Get out of here with that nonsense. The whole officiating was absurd. Honestly, absolutely absurd. And Draymond Green is beyond just his antics. He is a monster and a beast. Don't just say that Şengün was afraid of Draymond and that's why he didn't play well. It's because Draymond Green is a monster on the court. Even makes fun of him, another triple single. It's beyond just the box score. And Draymond Green has always been massively important to this team. Everybody, for years, in the media at least, always tried to downplay him. Always. And yet the Warriors always wanted him there. Steph always wanted him there. Weird. Everyone kind of came and went except for Steph and Draymond. Do you think that's just luck? You don't think that's intentional? They've been calling to trade Draymond for years. Oh, media, we got to move on from Draymond. Nick, every 5 seconds, is like, Draymond's bringing this team down, etc., etc., etc. This was a masterclass by Draymond. This was a masterclass by the whole Warriors team. You also remember when the Warriors beat the Lakers and Pods went for like 28 or something, and Nick's like, this is an outlier. Well, the dude just did it in the first round against the Rockets. Doesn't seem like an outlier there. Making fun of Buddy Hield. Buddy Hield balled. Moody stepped up. I don't know if Jimmy Butler, you're really hanging on the idea that playoff Jimmy is a real thing. Yeah, you're right. It is a real thing. And Jimmy Butler balled. And you know what? Even in a game that Steph Curry was obviously less than, his normal special self, the maturity and the experience that Steph has to be able to still flow into a game like that, which many superstars struggle. Almost all of them struggle in those moments when they're not really going off. Yet he still seamlessly finds ways to fit into the rhythm of a game without inserting himself and still hitting a big shot in a big moment when the team needed it most. That is special. Steve Kerr pulling all the strings. And yet throughout the season, throughout the years, people ripping him as not a great coach. This is the Golden State Warriors. What are we talking about here? Steph Curry, Draymond Green, Steve Kerr together, 4 rings. And we're acting like this team is just like some ragtag group of dudes. Or like Jimmy Butler hasn't been him for years and years. He hasn't had the luxury of playing on great teams like the Warriors have built. He hasn't had the luxury of teaming up with, Giannis and just insert all the other current stars around the league. It has always been just Jimmy and company. Like I said, I said this a couple weeks ago. If anything, watching this team now, it almost makes you angry as a Warriors fan because, like, Jimmy Butler should have been with the Warriors like 10 years, 5, 6, 7 years ago when he was kind of available in any of those random moments throughout the years. Because this is special. And I also love the moving of the goalpost too, from fans now, because you see people, they said today that, and I pushed back on this because, Nick came out and said, them being in the play-in tournament would be devastating. And then he said, with the Lakers being the 3 seed, they're guaranteed to be in the Western Conference Finals. And so now the Warriors are up 3-1 and the Lakers are down 3-1. And again, I got such pushback in the comment section on that, which is insane. Because it seems to be pretty accurate. And now the goalpost is moving. They're like, they might beat the Rockets, but like they can't win the championship. Dude, you guys were saying that they can't even get out of round 1. Okay? You said it was going to be devastating to face this Houston Rockets team. That they could run them off the court. It's so funny how so many teams over the years now, for the last decade, I guess, they keep thinking that they're building the Golden State Warriors team. They're building that dynasty. Again, so many different teams. The Celtics, the Rockets, the Clippers. Heck, the Lakers, the Grizzlies, the Nuggets. And yet none of them have. The Timberwolves, or the Milwaukee Bucks, excuse me. Yeah, none of them have. None of them. Weird. This is about, the biggest takeaway from Game 4 is just how special the Golden State Warriors are. Again, I'm not saying that they're going to win the championship. I mean, think about it. If you play for 20 years and you win 4 times, 5 times, that's considered an all-time great career. So the measure can't be, if they win, it proves their worth. And if not, it doesn't. Because that's absurd. That's absurd. But just winning this series alone is wildly impressive and wildly special. And the way in which they're doing it. And the gassing up of the Rockets going into this series. And the downplaying of the Warriors. And creating these doomsday scenarios. And now somehow, now that these games are unfolding, it's like the opposite. It's now the downplaying of the Rockets. Saying, They're young. Şengün is scared. He's young too. Draymond Green's antics are kind of, ruffling the feathers of the young guys on the court. Okay. Or maybe the Golden State Warriors are just a great team and they're special. Maybe Steph Curry is special. Draymond Green, special. Jimmy Butler, special. Steve Kerr, special. Putting these players like Pods and Buddy Hield, Kevon Looney, etc. in positions to consistently succeed. Steph Curry, one of the most selfless superstars in the history of all of sports. Of all of sports. Draymond Green, one of the most underrated. It's funny because Nick even kind of, underrated, overrated, depends. Nah, he's one of the most underrated superstars in the history of the NBA. The fact that people even question what he brings to a team, that's the answer. Nah, that's all the answer you need right there. That's all the evidence you need. All the evidence you need to know how underrated Draymond Green is. Although one of the best dynasties and one of the greatest teams ever constructed, the Golden State Warriors, Draymond Green was on that team and outlasted all the other variations of this team. So you would think that he's pretty darn important, and yet we still kind of want to question it. Or we still want to kind of gas it up and say that it's other aspects beyond just his on-the-court play. Like we want to reduce it to like just his defense, or it's just because he's so intense and he can get mind games and stuff like that. That's all part of it. It's all part of the Draymond experience. But make no mistake about it, a lot of that does a disservice for what he actually truly brings on the court from a strict basketball aspect. It's still undervaluing. Dillon Brooks does all that. Dillon Brooks is being all chaotic and causing problems, being a little dirty. Dillon Brooks don't have the career of Draymond Green. Dillon Brooks doesn't have the success of Draymond Green. The league one day will forget who Dillon Brooks is. The league will never forget who Draymond Green is. You can tell the story of the NBA and never mention Dillon Brooks. You have to mention players like Draymond Green and Steph Curry. That's the difference. That's the takeaway. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Golden State Warriors? What was the biggest takeaway from Game 4? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.